What's good, YouTube? It's Jay here. So today we've got a very unique and special game that we're introducing to the channel that falls within the Civilization-esque, RTS style of games that I usually post on this channel, and I'm excited to talk about it. So the mystery game in question that we're going to be looking at today is Manor Lords. Manor Lords is a medieval city skylines-like building game where you can also engage in combat similar to Total War. It's a very unique game in the sense that it was made by one guy, I believe, over the course of like 7 years or so, but it's been blowing up on Steam. I've been playing it a lot, to be honest, and I probably should be making videos on it in the process, but I'm excited to show you guys what I've got so far and what's included in the game. So I'm not going to start a new game, but I'm just going to kind of show you what a new game looks like. You have the ability to customize your name, create a different portrait, and so forth. It kind of reminds me of what is it, Crusader of Kings? I think that's the name of the game. I haven't played the game personally, but I've watched other people play it. You can customize your shields, you can customize all of this, you can separate your shield in different segments, and you are allowed actually to change the way like certain parts of the shield actually look, which is interesting. So if you go over here to field B, you can change this top part. Field C, you can change this part. You can change the symbols and everything too. It's very unique in terms of customization. So that's one of the things I like. And you're also allowed to save a preset of whatever logo you build. Then you have a variety of different scenarios. You've got the Rise to Prosperity scenario. I'll leave everything here for you to basically read. But if you complete this scenario by getting your settlement to a large town, you just win. Now I've won in this game mode, but for some weird reason it kept prompting me with the victory screen after like maybe like 10 minutes or so. So I just couldn't continue on with the save, to be honest. It was unfortunate. Restoring the peace, there's a little bit more warfare involved with this one, which involves conquering every region. And then on the edge, basically you're trying not to die while also reaching the large settlement level. You can play on relaxing, default, or challenging, or you're allowed to just customize all these options as well. This menu is blank, so I don't know what else is supposed to be here, as there will also be more scenario templates in addition to the 3 that we've got, but this is everything that we've got. We can adjust weather events, well placements, underground water, and so forth. There's a lot of different things we can customize here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is load up the existing save that I've got and briefly just show you guys what I've been working on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you might notice I have a different t-shirt on because, well, this video is being filmed almost a full day later because my OBS was crashing and giving me some really big issues and stuttering, and it really resulted in, I'm actually just testing it right now. It really resulted in some bad video quality, so that's why I'm wearing an entirely different shirt right now. So anyway, welcome to Manor Lords. Manor Lords is a Civ kind of game with a little bit of real-time strategy to it, similar to like Total War and whatnot. But you are allowed to construct these glorious towns where all your citizens have varieties of jobs. You can grow sheep. I know that's kind of dumbing it down, really simple. But the goal of this game is to really just grow the biggest city you can imagine, pretty much. Now, when you start this game, you have up to 8 total squares that you can go to. I started over here in Goldhof. You can actually claim other territories too. You just have to have the amount of influence necessary, which I do right here. You can find that up here. And the way you make income is through trading, through taxes, through anything you can pretty much assume what would happen for a medieval civilization to make money, basically. When I say everybody is assigned a job, I mean literally. We have currently 142 families, not individuals, but families assigned to separate jobs. Each family consists of a mom, a husband, or a mom, a dad, their kid. And every time a family comes into a new city, they are immediately assigned to an available house, and then you have the ability to manually or just randomly set them up with a specific job. Now, I do believe you can set certain families to do certain jobs, if I'm not mistaken. But for the most part, it is pretty much up to the game. Either way, it doesn't really matter who you have doing the jobs. It doesn't have to be anything specific. But that's one of just the beautiful parts of this game. Every time you get a brand new family in, they're immediately thrown into the the world of being a medieval peasant. What's cool too is you have the ability to actually walk around in your towns too, which is pretty nice. Now, what I like the most about this game is just the amount of attention to detail, basically. You'll see a lot of farmers and stuff plowing lands, you know, planting wheat or whatever crops you're growing, pretty much. There's a lot of just really heavy detail in this game. And again, this was all made by one person. You can explore all of these nice little environments. Now, what's interesting too is I assigned a lot of these houses over here, for example, to actually have vegetable gardens. This is not randomly generated. I assigned these houses to actually have these vegetable gardens and grow things and whatnot. But the amount of detail in this game is just stellar to me. Every house has a beauty to it. The colors are lovely. The designs are lovely and believable. Like these backyard areas have outhouses and stuff, which is a little disgusting now that I think about it, to put that next to the vegetables. But there is a very unique amount of depth to this relatively new and small game. I mean, it's just wild how much effort one individual over the course of 7 years put into this game by himself for the most part. Now, I don't know if he had any external help with like the art assets and whatnot. Maybe he did, for all I know. But currently, as far as I'm aware, there's only one publisher for the game. But again, like I said, the biggest thing that just sticks out to me is the amount of detail. You set people on a hunting mission, you'll see them go out into the woods, kill some animals, and then come back carrying the carcass of that animal. They will go to their tents to like skin the animal and stuff. You'll see the skins just hanging up. It's insane. It's insane, really, how much work can go into a game when a person is passionate about it. And speaking of the devil right here, we've got Nickel. He's over here just tanning some hides and skinning some deer. It looks like they're gonna be eating really good tonight. And it's cool, you'll be able to see him sometimes like transfer that meat over to this table, if I'm not mistaken. All right, well, his meat has disappeared, so I guess he's just Nickel, what do you do? Oh, okay, there it is. Now, is he gonna take that back to the table? I don't know if it'll pop up right there as an asset or if it'll just teleport in. No, yeah, there it is. There it is right there. Now, obviously, that's not realistic. Meat doesn't just magically teleport on top of a table, but still, that's a nice attention to detail. You don't have to add that. That's the storage space for all that stuff. It's really, 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 really detailed. There is an approval system, kind of. It's not fully fleshed out yet. People will get upset if things aren't met, demands aren't met. Like currently, we've got 57 different families that have a loss of approval right now because we lack food stall supply, which will sort itself out. We have plenty of food stalls pretty much lined up all over the place. And to be honest, I should probably make a lot more markets. Honestly, now this whole space actually is a marketplace region, so I don't know why it's not filling up, to be honest. But that's okay. It'll sort itself out eventually. A lot of the stuff is, controlled by the game at a certain point. You don't have to micromanage literally every single detail, which is nice. So you can leave a lot of the game to do things autonomously, which takes some of the stress off you. But again, yeah, we have different jobs. You could assign people like over here, for example, this tavern. And in order for this tavern to flourish, it needs to have a steady supply of ale. We have breweries in town. I don't know exactly where one of my breweries are because we have so many buildings now. But we do have buildings that will make said things for said things to be sold in another area. We've got a blacksmith over here. And what's cool is too, when it comes to things like the blacksmith, for example, it's just being made in this guy's house. It's not some big, huge factory thing that you would find in like some generic RTS or city building game. Everything's made in this person's house, which is pretty believable, honestly. That's kind of, I assume, how it was back in the olden days. So you could just assign families to basically do what families would do in those times. They would be the people that would make the weapons, the armor, food. We've got a tailor shop over here, and this guy makes clothes. I mean, it's so detailed. This family also has a store of weapons too, because a lot of the people in this town can be actively assigned to your army. Now, it'll be pretty much an all-men army. That's what all the armies will be comprised of. You can also hire mercenaries, although for some reason, I haven't been able to hire mercenaries for a while. And I don't know why. So if I get into any battles, unfortunately, I can't hire mercs to assist. But I haven't sorted out why that's actually happening yet. It could be the version of the game I'm on. I'm on like the beta patch or something. So I don't know. That's a little bit of an annoying bug, but what can you do? Now, if you're wondering how you start this game off, you start off with a small encampment. You can build a variety of things like wood cutting lodges. You'll have some basic supplies and stuff. And once you build said wood cutting lodges, your people, whatever families you assign to that area, they will go out and chop down trees, bring back wood, and that'll open up a variety of other options for you to build. So let's just take a look at some of the main buttons down here. For one, we've got roads. You can draw your roads pretty much however you like, and at no cost, by the way, which is really, really nice. A lot of city building games, a lot of civilization games, they will pay or charge you to build roads, which this game doesn't. It's a nice treat. I mean, it's just dirt. It's a literal dirt road. I'm glad it's not that, brutal to the player. It's a really nice thing. you've got your construction menu here, and you usually start off basically with a lodging camp, then eventually into Woodcutter's Lodge, which will give you like firewood, and then into the saw pit, which will give you planks, to a forester's hut, which will allow you to replant trees basically. So that's what some of these trees are right here. I believe we have a forester's hut in this region actually, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if we can find it really quick. Lots of homes and stuff. Here's our lodging camp. A lot of stuff is stored here, but unfortunately our goods are being damaged by the bad weather here, which is a feature of the game. If your goods are sitting out and instead of in a storage unit, for example, they will become damaged and eventually unusable and have to be disposed of, if I'm not mistaken. Now, for the most part, people are pretty dang good about storing our goods away, but unfortunately, these people are not really doing that. So there's a lot of things we're going to have to talk about in this video. By the way, there's so many different features to the game. Let's just kind of keep going forward. So yeah, you get the forester's hut. Oh, and let me just mention this. There is a tech tree also, but it is limited to 5 upgrades per region, meaning you can have specialized regions to do certain things, but it also means once you reach a certain level of your civilization in an area, it kind of becomes limited on what additional buildings you can make. So for example, we have the option for the charcoal kiln, but I haven't unlocked that in the tech tree for this region. However, I can unlock it in this region because we still have quite a few areas we can go in, and in order to level up a city, you just have to increase the number of buildings and the level of said buildings. So right now we have a lot of level 1 buildings in this area, but if we got 2 level 2 buildings, we would get a new tech tree like option to pick. So that's just something to keep in mind. But going back to the construction menu, you have your hunting camp, which explains itself. You hunt wild animals, which can be found by these markers over here, and these herds do migrate, and eventually I'm certain that these will leave the area. These used to be all the way like over here, and over time they steadily moved over here. So we've got that. We've got the forager's hut, which is very similar to the hunting camp. I've got one somewhere over here. Oh, here it is. Currently, we don't have really too many. Oh, we do have an entire set of families assigned to it. Never mind. We probably don't need that, to be honest, because our berry deposits are seasonal. And what the forager's hut will do is it'll send out people to basically go, well, get berries, pretty much. That's all it is to it. We got a lot of people just kind of chilling right here too, over here at this woodcutter's lodge. People are just coming over there to chop some wood and whatnot. We can actually go ahead and unassign some of these people too. This is how you unassign people. You just have this button and it'll basically leave you with extra people that when unassigned, they will just focus on construction projects, which is really nice. That's also another thing to keep in mind. If you want to have buildings built, you have to have people unassigned to jobs. Otherwise, said buildings will, and I mean literally will not get built under any circumstance. The game will also warn you too when you don't have enough unassigned families to construct buildings and stuff. But at the minimum, you only need 1 unassigned family. While that will slow down your construction process, people will still build things basically. You can actually set the priority of buildings too, by the way. I'll just plop down something to kind of show you what I mean really quick. So if you put this woodcutter's lodge here, we have the ability to give it a high priority. But we're going to go ahead and demolish that because we actually don't need that. So anyway, going back to the menus down here, we've got a lot of different options in this area. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 right here. We've got mining, we've got logistics, we've got residential, farming, and this is really one of the bigger elements of this game. We've got industry where you can make like smithing tools, iron, etc. Unfortunately, with this game, you have very limited iron deposits. You can upgrade certain mines to basically go underground and be unlimited. So when you start your early game mining, try not to drain an entire deposit dry, because then you lose out on the ability to mine it unlimitedly, if that's a word. So, and in order to get the unlimited mining, there's a tech tree option for that as well. So you might want to assign a certain region to like doing all the mining and stuff. Like this area, for example, doesn't have much in terms of mining. It's got an iron deposit over here though, which is pretty nice. And this one actually has a really big, whoa, that's a huge iron deposit. Wow. Okay, we'll have to keep that in mind. But I don't have anybody mining it right now because I want to keep track of that. I want to not lose that little deposit. But anyway, that's pretty much the gist of these menus. You've got trading stations, a trading post, and a livestock trading post where you can trade animals. This is kind of how you get your early game sheep. That's how pretty much I got all of these sheep right here. And then I got a tech tree option that makes it so they mate and repopulate a lot faster. I had like 3. Now I think we've got 60, and we've got 57 lambs too, which I think I'm just currently trading for. I don't know if they're mating or not too much, but I am trading for lambs. So, but yeah, we've got that. We've got the administration buildings, which include your settlers camp, which is the very starting thing the very first starting thing that you get basically by default in the game. It's interesting, you can kind of just build them. But you've got settlers camps, you've got your manor, and the manor is basically like the administration hub of your city. This is my manor right here. And we can actually open up a little menu right here, the castle planning system, which will allow you to basically draw out how you want your city layout to be. And to be honest, this is ugly. I'm probably gonna reset some of this or just delete some of this because, to be frank, a lot of these buildings weren't here before when I did this initial layout. This hasn't been committed to yet because we lack the resources right here, so I'm gonna probably clean that up and make it look a little neater. In order to expand this like little border sphere thing, you have to put more and more and more of these particular objects right here, which the game will not let me hover over and say what they're called, of course. But let's see. So if we go here, they're called outer towers. So if you slap these here, I mean, the little bit of space right here just increases. I don't really like this system, to be honest, because it doesn't really give you a whole lot of bang for your buck, basically. I would just rather you be able to build the walls versus having to build literally a plethora of outer towers. It just looks a little silly after a while. The walls and the gates are basically the same thing. If you drag a wall over this, it forms a little gate like that. You got your garrison tower, which is only limited to 1 per region. Hopefully that increases sometime in the future because I would like to have more than just one manor-based garrison. And then you've got your tax office. It's currently only cosmetic though, so I'm sure this is probably going to play a bigger role in the future. It's a tax office. Once you have enough resources, you can commit to building all of this, and you will have to have people available to build all of this, unfortunately. So just keep that in mind. And another thing I wanted to mention too in regards to something like trading, you do have trade routes. People will come out of these routes to your trade stations. We got a farmhouse over here. You got a trading post out here. And as you can see, it is, it's a little backed up right now, which has been a problem for a while, but our trading is still doing pretty fine. I've actually got 2 trading outposts right here and a livestock trading post between these 2 regions, just because this road is connected right here. So my city over here is getting some stuff, and this city over here is getting some stuff. It's causing a bit of a traffic jam, but that's okay. So that's kind of the basis of all this stuff. We got some cosmetic items like a shrine, or we can erase some shrubbery or something. Shrines don't do anything other than just look pretty cool, you know? And of course, those have to be built as well. And now, in terms of farming is an entirely different beast, basically. So let's see. We'll draw a little bit of farmland out or something and see what we can do with that. So all of these areas, the greener they are from what I understand, the better your supply will be, basically. So we'll go ahead and just plot some land right here, which comes at no cost, by the way, which is really, really nice. And then you can kind of pick what you want. Now, I had it mixed up before. I used to think that the redder it was, the better it was, because usually orange crops, I don't know, I just feel like that goes hand in hand with each other. But unfortunately, I was completely wrong about that. So some of my fields are not doing the best, but we will definitely be making use of the available farmland in this region. So yeah, you can build this, and then you can basically pick what you want. You want it to either be fallow, which will regenerate all types of fertility, but you will have no yields for that year. If you do this option, nothing will grow. It'll just basically be land that's trying to refertilize itself. You can also have an upgrade for a specific part of your land that will allow sheep and other animals to basically fertilize these fallow fields for you, which will also increase the speed at which these crops regenerate. Now you can see right here, we have 96% on fertility rates for wheat in this region, barley, which I believe is used for malt and made into ale. And then this is used for linen and colors, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines. Oh, winter is approaching. That's right. So let's explain something here really quick. We've got different seasons in this game, and this is related to farming, so I'm not jumping the gun, just so you know. We have spring, summer, autumn, winter. During the autumn season, that's when all harvesting is completed. During the spring seasons, that's when the rain happens, seasonal deposits regrow, summer crops grow. We have some possible droughts, although I've yet to encounter an actual drought. And then in the winter, basically everybody's inside their homes or, at their jobs, but nobody's looking for food or plowing fields. People will still hunt, but they won't be plowing fields and planting or anything. That's just not going to happen. So that plays a big role kind of into how you plan out your farmlands, pretty much. So you can have multiple farmlands kind of doing multiple things at once. And you can set it to a crop rotation. So this year we could have it set to fallow, and then the next year we could have it set to wheat, and then the year after that we could have it set to flax, and then it'll just kind of go in this rotation. So there's kind of like a way you can build these. You know, you have multiple farmlands next to each other that'll be completely separate from one another that accomplish different goals. So like, I want this farmland to be wheat focused with, you know, wheat one year, followed next year, and then barley the next year after that. We can have another land that could be back to back to back on wheat, which is really, really nice because it just means you have so many more options in how you actually want to build your lands. So like, yeah, we could do the same thing here. We can have this be wheat, this be barley, and then this be flax, or we can have it do wheat, follow, meaning we'll try to get it back to like its max, which, by the way, I'm probably going to rebuild all these farmlands because they're not doing too good. And for some weird reason, folks are plowing this land right now, even though we are in a bit of a weird spot. But I digress. We're at 100% on wheat gains right here, so I'm not going to stop. I'm going to let him do his thing. Now, another key thing to note is you need a farmhouse, which you can assign up to 8 families to. You can assign a couple of livestock to it, up to 2, by the way. And what that means is when you assign livestock, that farmhouse has full access to a piece of livestock permanently. Nobody else can use this ox. We have, I believe, yeah, we have 18 ox in total, 6 unassigned currently. And in order to get ox, you actually have to buy them. So you build, let's find an example of this. These small stables. You could buy ox here for 20 coins or whatever, or you can get them at the livestock trading post if I'm not mistaken, but I get most of them from the small stables. You start off with 1 ox. Ox are important because they are used to transfer building materials. They are used for farming, everything. You need plenty of ox because plenty of people will be needing them. Just keep that in mind. So if you build a beautiful little village like we got right here, you're going to need multiple ox to run your lands basically. It'll take some time for it to be delivered. It's not an instantaneous thing. Nothing is instantaneous in this game for the most part. It'll take some time for things basically to transfer over, for new items to arrive, so forth and so forth. So that's kind of the basics of farming. I mean, it's a pretty in-depth system, to be honest, and our taxes are going up. Also, my royal tax to the king is consistently going up and up and up, which is a little annoying, but we're not going to worry about that. We currently have 10,000 regional wealth, which is a lot less than I thought we had. We have 100% public order. Nobody's upset. People are drinking a little bit, but that's not a huge issue. Our total population right now is 471 and growing, but we don't have any extra new houses. You'll be able to know when people are capable of moving in right here, when it'll say like a +1, +2, +3, or whatever. That means you have like plus however many houses available for families to move into, basically. It's really, really detailed, like I said. And then over here, we've got the number of months before supplies run out. We've got 11 months worth of food, 7 months worth of fuel, which is like firewood and stuff. If you just keep the correct buildings up for all this stuff, it'll just build up over time. Just keep your eye on this. Make sure you're not overpopulating without enough food to match the population size, basically. Because I've come into a couple of situations where we almost had some starvation. This land isn't doing as good. We got a we're not doing too good. We have 120 people living in this village and only 2 months of food and fuel, unfortunately. But we'll get it sorted. Also, I just realized too, look how much of this stuff is growing. Oh, this is bad. This is really, really bad, actually. We might have to force an early harvest here, which is something you could do. Because this is just going to die in the winter. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how this game goes. Any crops sitting out in the open will literally just die from sitting out in the open, basically. You don't want that. You don't want that whatsoever. So we'll hopefully get some people over here to kind of clean things up and whatnot. We have plenty of farming fields in this newer region over here. I wanted to make use of all this farmland. So hopefully these people come over here and get busy. Yeah, they're coming. They're coming to harvest. Okay, cool. So that should be squared away. But the amount of depth is amazing. Seriously. We've got resources. We've got plenty of construction materials in this land. Now, it's on a land basis or region basis. So over here, we've got all this. But then over here, we've got all this. We've actually got more timber over in this region because we have more people assigned to logging or lodging and stuff. It's a little more consistent in this area currently because we just chopped down so much of this land that we're just honestly running out of, well, trees, which makes me think we should probably do something about that. So let's see, where is our forester? Let's find this guy. We got so many buildings now too. Well, all right, I have no idea where he is, so I might just, oh, here he is. We actually might need to build a couple more of these because this region is almost completely out of trees, and these people will not cross into the region to collect more trees and materials and whatnot. So that's unfortunate. We've got food, in which there's a large variety of food: meat, veggies, berries, bread, eggs, apples, and honey. A majority of this stuff I'm importing, honestly. We can't really afford to make all this stuff right now. But we've also got a consistent income to afford all of the imports and whatnot. And we can actually take a look at one of my trading posts. Let's go to my main one over here in the town square, which should be here. This is basically a store of everything we've got right here. This is a list of everything we're trading. Currently, we have a lot of no trades because we were burning through cash way too quickly, and I wanted to recoup some of our losses. The only thing we're really importing is malt for our ale, iron slabs, and iron ore, so we can actually make it here. But we're doing that in doses. Now, what you can do here is you can increase the desired surplus amount that you want. It goes up to 999. And what that basically means is you'll keep trading until you either reach that amount or, you know, they'll just try to trade and reach that amount, basically, like your NPCs and stuff, if that makes sense. Like right here, our desired surplus is 600, but we're trading enough and using enough where it's still under 600. You'll never stay consistently at your desired surplus unless your town literally is just not using that resource. But these are resources that are constantly going to be in use, so this number will fluctuate consistently. We've also got plenty of wool surplus that nobody's really buying, unfortunately. That's just kind of how it is. You can see your conversion rates and stuff, your export prices and your import prices. Importing is always going to be more expensive than exporting, of course. We're also selling some military gear because we're making more than enough. We have over 1,000 war bows currently being produced in this city, or just sitting in surplus, actually. So we're selling a lot of that just to make a little extra money. And we can also import weapons and whatnot too. Again, you could trade, or I'm sorry, not trade, but you can use a variety of livestock like horses and stuff to assist your traders with going to other regions. That's kind of how that works, basically. So, you guys got all of that? It's a lot, right? We've got a variety of different crops that we're harvesting right now that are currently available for harvest. The harvest is going to happen in 40 days, actually. Wait a second. Hold on. Are they talking about over here? What are they talking about at? Maybe they're talking about this region. Maybe. I don't know. My fields are a little messed up right now. I need to reset a lot of these and just kind of rework them a little bit. But that's currently how much in crops we have. Here's crafting materials. I mean, we've got so many things. Clay. We've got a lot of stuff. We've got commodities such as ale, shoes, herbs, candles, which I don't think candles serve a purpose yet. And then we've got plenty of military gear because we've been attacked on a number of occasions by bandits, which do exist in the game, and by the king's army. The king is, let's see if we can find him actually, is this guy. Hildebolt von Berenrut. I don't know if I said that correctly. But either way, this is technically the king of the land. There isn't really much you can do with him right now. I mean, aside from declaring war on him or whatever. But we don't have the military forces to do that. So I'm obviously not going to do that, of course. Then we've got we've got outlaws, but I think these guys are more of a work in progress. They don't really serve too much of a purpose right now. Aside from, you know, like little bandits and stuff. I don't even know if those two are related, to be honest. But again, yeah, there's so much detail to the game. I mean, what's cool to me too is that I know I keep tapping in and out of things. Just a habit from me playing Star Wars Empire War so much. The more stuff you put on the map, you know, in your fields, the map itself actually draws it out. This all used to be blank, save for the trees and the hills and whatnot. But now you can see all little roadways and houses and stuff. It's such a cool little bit of attention to detail. Now, when you do try to claim certain lands with influence, the king will challenge you with an army. Just to be aware of that. So if I wanted to claim this, I would actually have to go to war with the king just for that battle. It wouldn't be like a long-standing war or anything. Just keep that in mind. And when you do go to war, by the way, make sure you keep a corpse pit around. These corpse pits are for what the game considers the undesirables. The people that don't deserve to be buried near a church, basically. It's a little messed up in how that works, but I mean, it's the medieval times, man. What do you expect, you know? People are gonna do really, really messed up things. And apparently we're just losing out on our food stall supply. So I have to figure out what's happening with that. I mean, I don't know why we're kind of in the deep negatives with that right now. I'll have to sort that out. But I think I've covered almost everything. We don't have anything like pigs in the game or hogs or whatever for meat sources. We only have like the deer and stuff, which again, migrate. I don't know if I missed any other details. There's a very in-depth system for crafting bread. You need a field that collects wheat. The wheat is stored in the farmhouse. The farmhouse then takes that wheat to like a windmill, and then you have a communal oven where you can bake the, the flour into bread. There's an entire index in the game that basically breaks down everything from buildings to resources, economy, deposits, upgrades, and so forth. There's a lot of stuff. Now, the details are a little, they're a little lacking for the most part. They're pretty straightforward and simple. But there is something for literally everything in here to kind of explain what's happening. And one thing to note, as it says down here, this game is still in early access. With all of this detail, it's still in early access. There's so much more content to come. There's so many more things to add. I really cannot wait for the future of the game. One final note, you'll get a lot of alerts. Again, this is related to storage for things that are either too full or things that are exposed and so forth. So keep your eye out up here, just in case things are just not going well. This is where you'll see all those notifications and whatnot. We got a lot to kind of figure out with this little city in terms of like food stores and stuff. As I explained in the beginning of the video, the first city I made, for some reason the save just kind of bugged and I consistently kept getting errors. Well, not really errors, more of every time I tried to play that map, it just suddenly said I won every single time. Like every 10 minutes it would just say you won because, well, you built up your town to the thing we wanted to. A large town settlement or whatever. Every time I tried to play that save, it just did that. So I had to just make a brand new save, basically. Oh, and another thing that I didn't mention too is everybody has a unique name for the most part. The name generation is a little limited. So you'll find a lot of repeat names in a lot of our citizens and stuff, but it is cool that people have their own names. You can see who they are, what their job is, where they're going, what they're doing. It's, again, so detailed, man. Heck, if I come over here to our market, you can actually see people in the marketplace. Look at this, and look at this. This is the woodcutter area for like making planks and stuff. Look how detailed that is. Wow. But you will see people in these marketplaces just trying to sell stuff. Like this guy's peddling over here to sell whatever he wants over here, which just looks like a singular piece of cloth or something. These food stalls are for the most, or these stalls in general, are open to the public if I'm not mistaken. People can claim them, anyone can claim them. But it is interesting that you'll just be able to see things like this in large detail. Like this lady, she's selling some berries. She's got some bread. She's doing a little bit of peddling. We can actually see what she's selling too. Berries and bread. Again, detail, insane amounts of detail. You can also build wells too, which are connected to underground water networks. And actually, let's see where that option is. I don't remember where it is off the top of my head. Let me find it. Here it is. Wells. You'll see where these underground water areas are. It doesn't really do much yet. There's really no real detail to it. You want to keep these wells in numbers. You don't want people lacking in water, being thirsty and whatnot. That's never a good thing. But again, the amount of detail is just insane. You'll see people come over here and use these, dunk them in there to get some water, pull it back up, they'll grab the bucket, and go about their merry way. Let me just say this. The game's soundtrack is gorgeous. Like, whatever the composer thought of when he was making the music for this game, I really just love it. It's so well done. I have a lot of high praises for this game, man. There's just so much to it that I like. So many things that are done right. Obviously, a lot still needs to be worked on. There are plenty of bugs and issues here and there with the game, but for the most part, it's genuinely been one of the most lovely experiences I've had in a while with a city building type game. So shout out to the developers over there at Slavic Magic. Really well done. I enjoyed this game a lot. Can't wait to see what more comes to it. Honestly, I think this is generally going to be one of the sleeper games going into this year. This guy has definitely made his weight and income for the game just because of how well it's been selling on Steam with a bunch of very positive reviews. That for an early access game is pretty dang impressive, honestly. So I'm excited to kind of see where things go, man. All right, guys, that's enough yapping out of me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Are you going to check out Manor? If yes or no, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. If you're new here, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more gaming content. This has been Jay the Gamer. I will see you in the next video. I hope you have a great day. May the force be with you all. Peace.